Shantanam Vitaraginam Mumukshunam Apekshoyam Atmabodho Vidhiyate. So 23rd verse we had seen last time. Raga, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, all these are experienced by us only when the buddhi is active. When the buddhi is not active, we don't experience. So they all belong to the buddhi, they all don't belong to the Atma. So in the deep sleep state, in samadhi, we don't experience these. So to say that I have raga and dvesha, from that standpoint of Atma, it is not true. In Nirvana Shatkam also that line comes beautifully, that paragraph starts, Name dvesha ragau, name lobha mohau, mado naiva, me naiva, matsarya bhava. That I don't have raga, I don't have dvesha, I don't have these 6 vikaras. But this is applicable to what? To the Atma. If I am identified with the mind and the body and the intellect, then I have to overcome raga and dvesha. I can't be in raga and dvesha, identified with it and say, no, I don't have raga and dvesha. It is not to escape from. Now continuing, 24th one. Prakashor kasyato yasya Shaityam agniryatoshnata Svabhava Satchidananda Nitya Nirmalatatmanaha. So Arkasya Prakashaha, the nature of the sun is to give light. Toyasya Shaityam, water, the nature of water is coolness. And Agnehe Yatha Ushnata, and heat is the nature of fire. So what is the nature of a thing is that without which that thing cannot exist. So what is our nature? Svabhava Satchidananda. Our Svabhava is Satchidananda. So how do we say our Svabhava is Satchidananda? So if it is our Svabhava, then why are we searching for it? If we are searching for it, that is true. There is no doubt in that. We don't know, ignorance is there, agreed. But what is Sat Chit Anand? Existence, consciousness and bliss. So each one has an inherent desire to exist at all times. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to become non-existent. So immortality is our nature actually. Not as body, mind, intellect, as Atma. But today we are wanting to extend it to the body. We want to be immortal through the body and the mind. But the fact is they are perishable, they will die. They are actually dying every minute. So desire for immortality. Why do we have desire for immortality? Because my nature is immortal. But I have forgotten that and identified wrongly with the body, which is mortal. So I feel I need to get back to that. And for immortality, one does so many things. There are different ways of immortality. One is one wants to live healthy with the body only. But one wants to live immortal through many other ways. Through achievements, one wants to be immortal. My name should be there in the world. You will not be there, but my name should be there. Body will not be there, that jiva will not be there in that form. But the name will be there. So one wants to be immortal through the name. Or one wants to be immortal through Name is one. Name though has to be there as the name of the person. Second is through the achievements. Third is through the progeny, my child. So I continue through my child. So my child is me. Fourth is through wealth and power. So I want to be immortal through any of these. Vedanta says none of these can make me immortal. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. Body wise, so definitely one cannot be. Every Asura tries to be immortal through the body only. Yesterday, if the Holika Dahan happened, Hiranyakashipu, he did lot of penance. You know, it's very interesting in Bhagavad if you see. When Varaha Avatar happened and Bhagavan killed Hiranyaksha, Hiranyaksha is Hiranyakashipu's brother. So, Hiranyakashipu comes there, he consoles all the family members. He says, what is born has to die. Body is perishable. Atma alone is imperishable. He gives full on Vedant knowledge to his own family. Then he goes to do tapasya. And he stands on one foot and his eyes are turned upwards and his hands are raised up and he is praying to Brahmaji and for many years together. And finally when Brahmaji manifests, what is the boon that he asks? He says, give me the boon of immortality. Brahmaji says, that is not possible in my capacity. What is born has to die. So what is that symbolizing there? You see, we think Asura means anybody who has some two horns and then black face and terrible teeth and one stout body and all that. But not necessary. Anybody who has the knowledge that there is an Atma separate from the body, but who still lives in the body, for the body, as the body, is an Asura only. Fact is a fact. Anybody living in the body, as the body, for the body, is an Asura. It doesn't depend on what is the appearance. You may be a 6-pack person or 8-pack person, but you are an Asura only. Whoever it is not necessary for humans only. Anybody, Devata it can be, or whoever it is. And person like Prahlada, he is born to an Asura, but he is not an Asura because he lives the knowledge that God is all pervasive. And that Bhagavan is in me also, and Bhagavan is all around me, everywhere. Bhagavan alone is. In fact, we have no existence, zero. That is called Prahlada. One who is always happy is Prahlada. And one who brings happiness to others is Prahlada. In the most provocative situations, he will not be miserable. That is Prahlada. Who can be like that? Only a person who has surrendered completely can be like that. Otherwise, for every small thing, we will become upset. One whose joy is supreme, that person is Prahlada. So our nature as Atma is immortality. But not knowing that, now with the body one wants to become immortal. So that is not possible. So when we say our Swarupa, here it says Swabhava Satchidananda, the nature of ours is Satchitanand. How do we know? The desire for immortality in us itself is a proof that my nature is immortality. Because I don't know, so I am falsely identified. Desire for knowledge is there in all of us. I want to know. I don't want to remain ignorant. Whatever knowledge it can be. It need not be only Brahmajnana. Actually, the desire for Brahmajnana is there in all hearts. Because we have to know our own true self. But today it is covered by so many other things. So we think I need the knowledge of this and that and subject and some external things and how to make money and how to achieve fame and so many such things. But actually in and through that, what do I want? I want to experience happiness only. So I have desire for immortality, I have desire for gaining knowledge, And I want to be happy at all times. Nobody wants to be miserable. Do anything anyhow and be happy. That's what we want. Does anybody want to be miserable? No. And what type of happiness I want? I don't want temporary happiness. Permanent happiness. I want to be happy at all times. So permanent happiness, supreme knowledge, immortality is what each one seeks. In and through what we do, actually either of these three only we will be seeking. Any pursuit it can be. It can be family, it can be some power pursuit, it can be some wealth, it can be promotion, it can be a house, whatever it is. In and through that, basic three things what we seek will be these only. Immortality, knowledge, happiness. But the challenge is only here that we are seeking it in the wrong place. Through the body, through the people, through the things outside, we will never get these. We will get only temporary pleasure. So that's why he says, Swabhava Satchidananda. Our Swabhava is Satchidananda. We have to only turn within. And what is that Swabhava? Nitya Nirmalata. Complete purity is that true nature of ours. Atmanaha. That is the word. Atmanaha is of the Atman, meaning me, of this true I. So if I realize this Atma Tattva, many people ask, what will I get if I realize? What will you get if you realize? You will get this. Acha, that's all. Everything else one is doing for this, but one is not getting this. But if you turn towards Atma, you will get this, which is what truly one is seeking. But then one says, no, that is not, I want something else. Because the fascination for the immediate and the temporary is very deep. So the mind wants new things, senses want to enjoy new ways, intellect wants some achievement, some success. So one is used to only these three: pleasure of the senses, emotional joy, intellectual satisfaction. That's all. And no matter how much one gets these, the emptiness will remain. Now to escape from this emptiness, what will one do? Find new ways to engage. Go to new places, find some new things, visit some new movie, whatever. Somehow I have to find something new to do. But how long will that last? Very short. If one says, no, but we should still seek all that. One can seek, there is nothing wrong in that. But a point should come in one's life when one should ask oneself, how much? One has done so much. How long will this go on? Will there not be a state where I can come to experience the fulfillment of these three? Because till these three are not fulfilled, happiness, immortality and knowledge, till we don't get these three, no matter what we get, we will still feel unsatisfied. Hence, the word here is Swabhava. It is our Swabhava. Anything that goes away from its Swabhava will be most uncomfortable. Anything that has gone away from its Swabhava, when it comes back to its own Swabhava, then only it is comfortable. So like water when it becomes ice, now it is frozen. That is not its Swabhava. And to maintain it in that state, it has to be in that certain temperature. Otherwise it will come back to its own Swabhava. What is that temperature that we are maintaining? Is all these, desires, raga, dvesha, all that is what we are maintaining properly to maintain this ego, the individuality. If we remove this, we will immediately come back to our Swabhava. And hence, all the sadhana is not to gain anything. The sadhana is actually to undo, remove all these things which are holding the infinite truth as a finite entity. If I remove those conditionings, immediately one will come back to this. Nitya Nirmalata, that is our Swabhava. Just like this water, you see here with water example, there is a limitation that water can transform into ice or vapor. But with this prakasha and arka, which is the sun will never become cold and the fire will never become dark. They will never change from their swabhav. So, swabhav is actually that which will never change. In us, has the swabhav changed or it has not changed? Not changed? Sure. Everybody is sure. Some people are not replying. So, on one hand, my swabhav has not changed. On the other hand, I am still experiencing I am not that. It has changed. So, means I have gone away from Satchidananda. So, the big I remains and then it has become, is appearing as small I, or the big I has transformed into small I.
Something that you said does not change.
Exactly. But like a water example, so there are two analogies here. One is the water which can become
Into different states.
It can go into different states. The other is the sun and the fire. That will never change. So what has happened to us?
Big eye has not changed, small eye has changed.
Big eye has not changed, but small eye has changed. But small eye though is, are there two or is there one?
It is a projection, right? So there are two. The projection is there, it's fictitious, but it's there.
Okay, so the big eye only is projected as small eye.
Yes. No.
No?
The big eye with the Maya is projected as small eye.
So that's what I'm saying. Big eye is projected as small eye, no? So big eye has changed? No. Small eye though is constantly changing anyway.
The small eye is only an appearance. It's only a aura which is making it look like something.
That whichever lens you take.
So big eye remains or not? That's the question. Big eye does not become small eye. Big eye retains as it is. Only it appears as small eye. Okay. Think, Baba.
It's how water goes into ice and comes back into water. Different
See, water became ice, na? That time there was, that water became ice, no? Correct. So big eye became small eye, no? So now small eye has to again become big eye, no?
The ice is also water only, the snow is also water. It is a molecule is water. It is
Nature has happened in different form. We don't experience, we are not able to connect with Atma, we are not in that state. Unless that is there.
Yes.
We are able to connect to experience Him at any point of time.
Correct.
We are not able to connect.
So without changing, the big eye appears as the small eye. So the change has never happened. So though this is apparently having two different varieties of examples, they are same. Water has not changed. Only the appearance of water has changed from liquid to solid or to gas. That's all. It has actually not changed in its. You may say technically no molecular structure changes. I am not talking about that. I am talking inherentness of the water. That has not changed, the basic property. It will again come back to water only. So the consoling factor is this, that we have not become finite. The infinite is my true self even right now. It is only an appearance that I think that this ego is real. So the whole sadhana is to destroy all those false notions which are making us feel that I have become this finite entity now. And now because I am a finite entity, I need this or that for my happiness. That has to change. That has to go. Now who will be able to do that? What we saw in the first verse. Tapobhik shina papanam. One who has done tapas, one whose agitations are destroyed, whose mind has become pure, who has vairagya, that person will turn inside. What happens to many of us is that we study Vedanta, but our mind still wants the temporary pleasure only. So when we seek temporary pleasure, the jiva bhav goes on strengthening that I am this only. By itself, the pleasure cannot do anything to us. You see, today, if we play with a child's toy, it doesn't affect us at all. All the pleasures in the world by themselves are like that. If I am anchored in my true self, like any great master, if you see them, anchored in the true self, nothing happens to them. They may play in the world, there may be pleasures in front of them. Janak Maharaj was ruling a whole kingdom. Nothing happens to him. Why? Because the anchoring is that I am the Atma. But when anchoring is not there in the Atma, then I should anchor in the next attitude, I am a seeker of the self. Live a life according to that. If this is also not there, if I am not a 24/7 seeker, then at least one should say that I am playing this role as my duty. Do it just as a duty. And whatever is my duty, nothing more than that. Because if these three are not there, then I will be a completely indulgent person. Now I will think of myself only as a bhogi. Person who is there to enjoy, that's all. And today, that enjoyment has become the highest. Objective of life is what? Enjoy. Khao, piyo aur mauj karo, bas. One can enjoy, but is that the be and end of whole life? No. Enjoyment is a very small part of life. Kama is one part only. And do you know, Holi is also the festival where we celebrate Kamdev. See, in many places, Kamdevta's picture will be created and Kamdev will be worshipped. You know why Kamdev is worshipped on Holi day? Because on the holy day, when Shivji opened his third eye, he burned Kamdev. Because there was this demon called Tarakasur. And the Tarakasur had got a boon from Brahmaji that he can be killed only by a child of Lord Shiva. And at that time, Lord Shiva was not having any consort. Because Sati had immolated herself. He has not yet married Parvati. So Shivji is alone when Tarakasur got the boon. So he thought Shivji will never get a child, so he will become immortal. Second type of Asura. So he said, you see, Asura's creativity is fantastic. If you put down all the ways by which Asuras try to become immortal, amazing thought they have. Devatas, Ravan also. He said, nobody can kill me except Nar and Vanar. So he thought what Nar and Vanar will do. They can't do anything. He has defeated all Devatas, Gandharvas and all lot of people. And Nar and Vanar, he thought they are tuchha. So somewhere or the other, there will be one loophole. Bhagavan will catch that and then destroy them. So this Tarakasur said, I can be killed only by the son of Lord Shiva. And he thought Shivji will not have a child at all. Then Sati is born as Parvati, and then she does tapasya, and the wedding of both of them happens. And Shivji is very strange, His wedding also is amazing. No wedding in the world can happen like that, even today. All the Bhutaganas and Pishacha and all of them, they are there in the Bharat, and then he is coming on this bull, and he has put bhasma all over and mundamala and all that. And finally the wedding happens. And in the wedding, they worship Ganeshji first. So everybody is wondering, how can Ganeshji be worshipped? Shivji Parvati's wedding only has not happened. Uske pehle Ganeshji kahan se aaye? Because our mind thinks in terms of sequence only. But Ganeshji is not just a child of Shiva and Parvati. He is eternal Brahman only. So Ganeshji is worshipped first, then their wedding happens. And Shivji is what we call standard preoccupation is meditation. So after marriage, he goes into meditation. There is no honeymoon for them. The Parvati is sitting alone. He to gone into meditation now, what? And now Devatas also worried that the child has to be born, then only Tarakasur can be killed. So now what to do? So then they tell Kamdev that you have to go. Kamdev knows that if I go and disturb Shivji's meditation, I will die. But he said, for you Devatas, I have to do the sacrifice, so I will do it. So it's selflessness of Kama it is. So he goes there with whole, when he goes with his whole party and everybody, Vasant Ritu starts. So, Kamdev, what is the Vahan of Kamdev? Parrot is the Vahan of Kamdev. Parrot. Kamdev rides on the parrot. And wherever he goes, spring season will be there. And he will use 5 arrows, which will all have flowers. So lot of symbolism in all this. The 5 arrows are the 5 senses. Kama attacks us through the senses first. So 5 arrows he shoots at Lord Shiva. Shivji's meditation cannot be disturbed by these 5 arrows. So Kamdev wonders now what to do. He tries his best, but Shivji's meditation cannot be disturbed at all. But Shivji realizes that there is some other purpose why this has to happen. So he opens his eyes. As though in anger he opens his eyes and Kamdev is burnt. So when Kamdev is burnt, his wife comes, Rati. She says, he did it for the Devatas and the child has to be born. He didn't want to do it by himself. I am seeking a forgiveness. You please restore him. So Bhagavan says, okay, I will restore him, but he will be only in a subtle form. He will not have a gross body. So Kamdev, one of his name is Ananga. Na anga vidyate yasya, who has no body. Which means what? If you see even today, all pleasure is mental only. If the mind is not there in it, we cannot enjoy. So Kama actually is a mental vritti. If the Kama vritti does not arise, we cannot enjoy only. In anything you can apply it. If you are drinking a nice cup of coffee, your mind doesn't go there. Your mind is lost somewhere else. No enjoyment will happen. All enjoyment is through a thought of pleasure. So one who has burnt that thought of pleasure is Shiva. So Kama is the lowest form of existence for a human being actually. Today that Kama has become highest form of existence. So if I say that I am a bhogi and Kama is the highest goal of my life, then this I cannot realize. Svabhava Satchidananda cannot be realized. So I have to lift myself from Kama to Dharma. So that's why we have Artha, Kama, Dharma, and then Moksha. Final Purushartha is Moksha. So if I am done with Artha, Kama and Dharma, then I turn within for Moksha. So when we ask, can I apply this practically? This is not applicable in my life. When will I realize the self? I have to go through these 3 states, Artha, Kama and Dharma. So from Kama level to the Dharma level of duty to Sadhak level to a realized person who turns the attention within full time. Then Svabhava is realized that, my true nature is that. But if I am stuck with Kama, they both are very opposite. Kama and Ram, they are opposite. Because Kama will involve all our senses and the mind. And this Satchidananda will require us to go beyond senses and the mind. So they are contrary to each other. And hence if anybody tells us that keep on enjoying, spirituality doesn't deny enjoyment, you enjoy, do whatever you feel like, there's nothing called right and wrong, no need of self-control, anyway it's all an illusion, just eat and drink and enjoy. Run away from that person. Because they have not understood what is true spirituality. It is to turn within. Having seen life enough, I have to turn within. It is not an escapism from life saying I can't be successful in life, I can't achieve wealth, I can't achieve progress, I can't be prosperous, so I am turning to spirituality. It is not meant for that. Seeing through all this and having got enough vairagya, then one turns to this, that my true nature is that I have never become this actually. This is just a temporary appearance. But for me today, this is very real. Hence, the more and more I go through life with this alertness, that this is all a preparation. Am I getting vairagya or not? In and through all the things that I do in my life, is my vairagya becoming stronger or not? If my vairagya is becoming stronger, then my family life, my professional life, my social life, all that has prepared me for seeking the self. So I can go through all this with that attitude. And if I continue to study, meditate, in and through all these, then both will complement each other. My vairagya will make me go deeper into my sadhana, and the sadhana will ensure that I don't get lost in the flow of enjoyment. And I can shift from a bhogi to a person who is following dharma, to a sadhak, to a meditator who can turn within and realize. So that is this verse, 24th one. Now, because he sacrificed himself for the divine purpose. Because after that, Shiva and Parvati get Kartikeya. And Kartikeya then becomes the commander of all the gods, and then he kills the Tarakasura. So for the selfless cause, one who sacrificed himself on that day, yesterday was that day, when he sacrificed himself, so on that day they worship Kamdev. It is also symbolic of mastery over passion, desire, all that. So in that fire, it's beautiful. When Holika is sitting in that fire with Prahlada, Prahlada comes out safe and Holika gets burnt. So Holika is a symbol of complete atheism and materialism. And this Kamdev is a symbol of enjoyment, the bhoga vritti. When that bhoga vritti is transformed in a selfless way, the bhoga vritti burns. That's the symbolism of the holy day. That we don't have to suppress. If the enjoyment is turned into a selfless way, and eventually that enjoyment will just get destroyed only. That vritti that I need more and more, that will get destroyed. Simplest example for it. If I have a lot of what we call, let us say, attachment to eat, let us say some sweets. So there are many ways I can go on eating and enjoying. Or if I say that I will enjoy and along with that I will distribute it to the poor people, I will make some people experience it who can't afford it and all that. And the more I do that, slowly what will happen? The joy of selflessness makes my mind feel that is a greater joy than just the enjoyment of the sweets. Slowly that person's desire will become lesser. More and more selflessness one will start experiencing. You see, all this can happen when we reflect over our experiences, and that needs time and space. What happens to us is, from one experience to other, we are constantly jumping in life. There is no time to reflect, what did I get, what did I really experience, what was more joyful in this. Eating sweets is one aspect, but you look at some people, when you actually give them, see the joy that they feel, how their life transforms, how they feel nice. The joy of selflessness, when one starts experiencing, bhoga vritti will go. That's where it is. Kama sacrifices itself in seva, in nishkam bhav. That's the way to overcome karma. Without suppression, transform karma. That's our culture. It doesn't say suppress it. The suppression will come out as a volcano, it will burst. Any sense enjoyment cannot be suppressed. But if the mind is given a greater joy and the mind holds on to that, the lesser one will drop. How many soldiers at the army border, what are they able to do? They are also away from their families. They also would want to like to celebrate the festivals, etc. with their families, but they are away, far away. Today there are some 15,000 policemen in all over Bombay, Mumbai. Nakabandi happens today also. On the way highway I was coming, there is Nakabandi. So many of them are standing there. Now they also would like to celebrate with their family and everything, but they are standing there. Safety of the citizens and everything they are doing there. So the more one focuses on the higher joys, the lesser one will just drop. So nobody tells us in our culture to suppress karma. It is to transform karma into nishkama. And if I do that, if karma becomes nishkama, all the other 5 vikaras will change. I will overcome all of them because all of them are expressions of karma only. Krodha and matsarya come when karma is not fulfilled. Lobha, moha and mada, they come when karma is fulfilled. So, the 6 vikaras, the first one is the key for all the 5, all the rest of the 5. So, if I overcome the first one, the rest of the 5 I have overcome. So, Holika, the day of Falgun Purnima is meant for that actually. That one is through selflessness, Kama sacrificed himself. And when a person does that, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya also transforms. Now that entire energy of that mind is available for meditation. Otherwise it was getting dissipated. We are very concerned about carbon emissions and all that, no? Global warming and all that. But in every head, the amount of negative emission that is happening, really global warming is nothing. Our mind is warming up like anything. Every day it gets heated and then heated exchanges happen and fights and this and that. How much warming happens in that? And how much suffering happens in that? There should be some method to measure, Bhutan is supposed to be in plus. No, not happiness index. It's carbon, what is it? Carbon surplus. Something they have. Yeah. We, other countries have in negative. Bhutan has in plus. Like that we should have our carbon footprint, we should calculate. Like that our mind footprint we have to calculate. Negative or positive. How much is in negative, how much is in positive. Then the mind becomes quieter. Then this svabhava is experienced. With the mind which has all this, not possible. So if I want to transform from Asura to Prahlada, I have to do this. Destroy Holika, destroy Hiranyakashipu, and transform Kama into Nishkama. Okay, so that was verse 24. Now, in each of our experience, we feel that I know, I see, I hear, I taste, I smell, I feel. How is that we experience all this? Because by itself, the body, as you have seen earlier, the body and the mind are made up of inert things. Now this inert thing, this glass, doesn't have the feeling that I experience, I see, I feel, but we feel that. How is that happening? But consciousness is there in this also.
All the sense organs are there.
Sense organs are there in us, okay. Correct. Ahankar is not there, sense organs are not there. So brain is the physical organ. Subtle body is required. So if subtle body is there by itself, will this start functioning? So organs of action and perception may be there depending on the body of the creature. We have 10 sense organs. Not every organism has 10 sense organs. So it will depend on each organ's body. But whatever it is, the subtle body and the physical organs, can they function on their own? Atma is required. So both these have to come together, then the feeling of I know happens. You see, this which we take for granted, no? I know, I see, I feel, I hear, I taste, I smell, I touch, all these. It happens because of two factors, which is what is said in 25th verse now. See, Atmana Satchidam Shascha Buddher Vrittiriti Dvayam Samyodhya Cha Vivekena Janamiti Pravartate. So Janami iti pravartate. I know. This feeling we have. How? Because of this sanyojya. Because these two have come together. What? Atmanaha Satchidamshascha. Satchidanand, which is the nature of Atma, which means enlivening capability of the Atma, and Buddher Vritti, the thought of the Buddhi. When both these come together, see, by itself Satchidananda Atma doesn't experience anything. It is infinite truth. It is beyond body, mind, intellect. There is no world, there is nothing to experience. It is blissful state, that's all. And by itself this Buddhi, the thoughts will not function unless enlivened by consciousness. So if both these come together, consciousness and the subtle body, when they both come together, then the experience of ours is I know. So if I say I know this book, I know this mic, I know comes from Atma and the book thought comes from Buddhi. Both these will come together. Then only this will happen, that I know the book, or I see all of you, or you are seeing me, or you are listening to this lecture. How that happens? Because these two are there together. If either of this is not there, this knowledge will not rise. Like in deep sleep, do we know anything? Why? What is not present there? Atma is present or not present? Atma is present. Then what is not present? Subtle body is not there. The buddhi, mind, it is dormant. So knowledge doesn't arise. So even if somebody comes to my room, picks up something and goes, I won't know anything. Why? Because body, mind, intellect are dormant. So when body, mind, intellect plus Atma, when they come together, then this knowledge arises, which is called particular knowledge. But in this, what we feel, the word uses avivekena. We are not discriminating. The capability to know is in which one? Is it in the BMI or is it in the Atma? In which one it is? Capability to know is in the Atma. Atma is of the nature of knowledge. Capability to know is where? Capability to know is in the buddhi. But that buddhi needs to be enlivened by Atma, whose nature is Jnana Swarup. Then only this knowledge will arise in the buddhi. But what we feel, that this Atma is not existent and buddhi knows by itself. Which is why we say we don't believe God exists. Which is why we say that I don't experience God. If he is in my heart, then I have to experience. Every single thought that I think is only expression of that divinity. In every thought there is consciousness. In the Upanishad there is a beautiful line, Pratibodha viditam matam. In every single thought, Pratibodha, bodha means through every thought. Pratibodha viditam matam. Through every thought I can realize truth. So I don't have to realize through somewhere else, go somewhere else, become something else. No. If I just turn the attention from the object of the thought to the illuminer of the thought, I will know the truth. So what I am seeking is not some unknown thing, that God out there, now I don't know whether God exists, doesn't exist. You see, that is the difference between Prahlada and Hiranyakashipu. Prahlada thought that God is everywhere, including in my heart, and God is that consciousness. He was identified with that. Hiranyakashipu thought, where is this God, who is this Narayana, and he has killed my brother and I want to kill him. And it's very interesting, that whole story, that they both are actually Jai and Vijay. They are the doorkeepers, gatekeepers of Bhagavan Vishnu. Now who can become gatekeepers of Bhagavan Vishnu? A very highly meritorious soul only can become the gatekeepers of Bhagavan Vishnu's Vaikuntha. Their meaning, Jai and Vijay, means one who has overcome Raga and Dvesha. Such highly meritorious souls, they take up the position there. But some ego which comes inside brings their downfall. So they got that pride that, without our permission nobody can go inside. So one day what did they do? They stopped Lakshmi ji only. Thank you. How can you go inside? Do you have appointment? Do you have my permission? He said, have you gone mad? I don't need your permission. This is my abode. So what does that go to show? That ego can rise in anybody's mind at any point in time where we forget what is the truth. And they fell. When they fell from there and they became Rakshasas, what is the fall actually? Fall is not that from the gatekeepers they became Rakshasas. The fall is from being the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu to non-believers. That is the real fall. Ego makes us fall like that. Where ego thinks it is the most glorious. Everything is I, Mr. So-and-so. Which God, what God, God does not exist. Finished. Ego likes to say that only. I am the supreme. And ego doesn't want anybody to take God's name, including itself. It will not take. You try sitting for meditation. Every day at the same time you try to sit. The mind will cook up some excuse or the other. Or if it sits also, if you fix a quantity, suppose you say, I will do 2 malas. By the time you do half a mala, the mind will say, Aaj nahi, bas ho gaya aaj ke liye. Something or the other it will cook up and it doesn't want to do sadhana. That's the real fall. So from gatekeepers of Vishnu to non-believers. So the difference between Prahlada and Hiranyakashipu is that Prahlada knows that whatever happens, happens by grace of Bhagavan only. You see, when Hiranyakashipu tries so much to kill Prahlada, everything fails. Finally, he wants to kill his own son. And he charges at his son with his sword, but Prahlada is small boy, he is standing fearless. So Hiranyakashipu asks him, on whose strength do you become so fearless? And the reply that Prahlada gave is most beautiful. He said, O father, do you think there are 2 sources of power in this universe? That source of power which is making me stand fearlessly is the same source of power which is there in you. There is only one source of power and that is the Lord. Now this is the difference. Hiranyakashipu thinks he has his own power and if Narayana exists, I will kill him. That is what ego thinks. And Prahlada says, there is no other source, there is only one source. Consciousness alone is that because of which everything else happens. Now we are thinking it is happening on our own. So I saw, I did this, I did that. Arey, who is that small I? There is no existence of that small I actually. So if I see every single thought has that power for me to be able to realize, in fact every single thought is an expression of the divine. And that's why Gurudev used to say an atheist is also able to deny God by the grace of God only. So nice it is. If I say I don't believe in God, that thought that I don't believe in God came to you from where? Until consciousness doesn't enliven it, you can't even say that thought. And that consciousness is you. So in every thought I have that. So really speaking, what do I have to do? Only shift my attention from object of the thought to illuminer of the thought. That's all I have to do. Meditation is only that. Shift from object to the illuminer. That's it. It is not a state of blank. It is not getting some special vision. It is not getting some siddhis. It is not seeing some color, light. None of that. It is just to shift my attention that I am none of these, neither the body, nor the mind, nor the intellect, nor the outside things. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. That is my true self. This is what he is saying. Atmana Satchidam Shascha Buddher Vrittiriti Dvayam. If these two come together, Janamiti Pravartate. Then this knowledge will arise that I know, I see, I hear, all that. So that is this beautiful verse. Now, this requires alertness. Habit is something which conditions us terrifically, and ego is a creature of habit. Ego survives because of habit. Alertness will not allow the ego to rise. Habitually our mind keeps thinking about itself, then keeps thinking about the world outside. It is habit, it goes on. 60,000 thoughts every single day will come, and I think I am the thinker, now I am thinking the thoughts. Nobody will question who is this thinker. That is called alertness. Being aware of how this thinker is being built. So many thoughts that we have about ourselves. How are they rising? You know, it's very interesting. Our brain is such an organ that 80% of the communication of the brain happens with itself only. It's amazing. Only 20% of brain's communication is with the world outside. 80% it talks to itself only. They are called self-descriptive thoughts. What I think about myself. Now, by habit, I go on describing myself as a finite entity. To live in alertness is to break that psychological description. See, functional description, there is not a problem. We have to work in the world, there will be some role I have to play, I will play the role. If you observe the thoughts, the amount of thoughts that we have, how many will be psychological thoughts of self-descriptive nature and how many will be functional thoughts? Functional thoughts will be very less. And majority of the thoughts which are functional also, we will transform into psychological. Simple example, if one has to get ready to go to a function, what is a functional thought? Which sari to wear or which shirt or pant to wear, and then comb the hair properly, whatever. Simple. But after that comes a psychological thought. Which will make me look more good? What will get me more appreciation? This one I have worn already. I can't repeat. I don't know why that obsession of not repeating is there in this world. There are people who don't have clothes and food to eat, and these people here out there are saying, I can't repeat a dress. Last party I wore, 6 months ago you wore, who cares? No, the media cares, the picture will come on. So, right. And the same people after some time will say, now I believe in minimalism, nothing wrong in repeating. The world is going through so many problems. I am very compassionate and kind about this global warming issue. So I believe I should have only 5-7 dresses, nothing to repeat, no problem even if it repeats. Why? So before that you were in that state, no? That no repeating, no this, no that. And now suddenly, because the world has changed to something else which will give you more popularity, now go to that. Functional thing, na it is. Car, is it a functional mechanism na to travel? But how much one will have? This type of car, that brand of car, and I will sit in that, and people will be thinking, what a car he has. Human being turns everything which is functional into psychological and derives the self-worth from there. So that is the creature of habit. That is how human being lives. I'm not saying there should not be a good car or a good clothes or anything. One can do whatever one wants. But if I think that is defining me, that's why it says sanyojyacha avivekena. One has mixed it up. That it doesn't. How can those objects make me who I am? I lend validity to the objects, even as an individual. Forget as the Atma. So the more one lives in alertness, what are the constructs of my own mind? How have I equated happiness that if I get this, I will be happy? I have only equated all this in my head. Internally not give enough value to that. Like how we do now. When we want to play with a child, we will play with the child, with the toys. But internally, do we have any value for it? Yeah.
You also said that it's not, you shouldn't buy.
Correct. So when you sit in the car, you forget about the car. Because it's a means to transport. No self-judgment thought should come. You may buy the best model. I don't know which is the best model today. Which is a car? Suppose you buy some Mercedes car. Simple. I may feel good I bought a Mercedes car, hard work, maybe family is enjoying, happy, everything, and then I forget it. I don't allow it to make me feel great in terms of my self-worth is high because I have this, or if something happened to it, now my self-worth is low. I don't equate that there. Then my mind is available for higher things. And if I need to show, I can show also some excitement, but inside I don't need to be. Because when we live in the world, then we may have to show certain things. So it's like a role that one plays. An actor will go play the role, and while the actor is playing the role, will do that everything according to that role. But inside the actor knows this is not me. There's complete detachment with that. So internally, if you do that it doesn't affect me at all. Externally, if I have to show some great excitement or anything, I may show. Otherwise, people start becoming insecure. They will say, "Arey, this person is now not interested anymore." They will stop your coming to the class. All that they can do. Then one feels very sad. Not required. One can show, one has to go to a hotel and some good food is ordered and one can show some excitement, eat the food. But internally one knows this is 5 elements, that is 5 elements. This is being nourishing this body, that's all. Over. So, independently in my mind, there is no build-up happening psychologically at all. How much mind becomes peaceful just with the not building up. Then the mind can turn towards the higher. Otherwise, the mind is most of the time occupied with all these only. The type of phone I have, and the type of car I have, and the house I have, and the clothes I have, and how much talk goes on and on and on about that. Round, the mind goes in that. And the world has the power to make me feel lesser. That's the strangest part. I may have the best of the things, but if somebody else has a little better than me, the world will make me feel, "Arey, tumhare paas to ye nahi hai." Again I start feeling, "Arey, I don't have." It's very strange. When one did not have a certain type of enjoyment and one said, "This is what I can afford," one felt very good about it. Then one goes into one certain league. Then one sees others having much more. Then again one feels, "I am less." Where is the end? There is no end only. That is actually called samsara. So not to allow that. So the balance is stuck inside, saying that whatever has to happen, I am doing it. for a role that I have to play. Internally, if earlier I was giving, let us say, 20 thoughts to it, today I give 5 thoughts to it. Eventually it will come to 0. There won't be any thought before, there won't be any thought after. While you are enjoying, it will be there, then it is dropped. Before, after, nothing. A man of perfection lives like that. One day the person may be in a great palace, one day the person may be on the road. No difference it makes internally to them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because they don't equate anything with their external achievements or nothing. Atma is where they're anchoring. And that Atma is all pervasive, it is one. Like Prahlada's example only. He is sent away to the Gurukul, he is in the forest, or he is in the palace, or he is thrown from the top of a mountain, or drowned in the ocean. No difference it makes to him. Nothing. His mind revels in Bhagavan. There is only one truth. And he has no doubt also. So that is the highest state. How the master, how they live. He doesn't have a doubt, will Bhagavan protect me? No doubt. No drama, if I have been true, if my devotion is true, now nothing should happen to me. Nothing. He to goes and sits in the fire with Holika. No drama in the mind. Bhagavan, please protect me, it is your test and your devotion and it is your man, you have nothing. He is sitting there. If the body has to burn, it will burn. If the body doesn't have to burn, it won't burn. That's highest level of vairagya. And how did that come? It came because of satsang. Narad Rishi satsang. That he got when he was in the womb. So more and more satsang we do, less and less psychological build-up we will have. Mind becomes quiet and free. I think that one more verse is the same thought it is. Yeah. We'll continue in the next class. The next verse is same thought. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.